Today, we'll build a basic Chrome extension, and we're not going to use any extra tools. So basically just a text editor and a Chrome browser, and you're ready to build something. So what's a Chrome extension? Well, Chrome extension is basically a piece of software that runs in the Chrome browser. And there's multiple reasons why you'd want a Chrome extensions. You want to modify a web page, you want to automate something, you want to integrate with some services, or just add some features to the browser that are missing. So to check what your Chrome extensions you have, there's this extension button over here, or you can go to Chrome : extensions. Chrome : / extensions. There we go. And then you can see the extensions that you have here. All right, so what are the parts of a Chrome extension? So there's actually three main parts of a Chrome extension. First, we have the background script down here. So background script is also called a service worker, and it's typically a long-running script that's just running in the background. Oftentimes it listens for events and performs some tasks. So then we have the content scripts. So the content scripts are actually running on each web page. So like each web page will have its own version of the content script running. So you can have one or more content scripts, and they can contain CSS or JavaScript. And the third thing is the pop-up. So pop-up is the thing that comes up when you click on an extension. Let's see if I can click on the sample extension I have. Let's do this one. So I click on this one, a pop-up shows up. Okay, so now the way to configure the extension is through a manifest.json configuration file. And in this video, we're going to be building a basic extension that will have a pop-up with a turn on/off switch and an input field. And what this extension will do is it'll basically blur the page elements containing that text that we're going to put in our pop-up. So let's start with our manifest.json configuration file. The first thing you want to do is create a source directory somewhere. So I have create a source directory. I have nothing else there. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new manifest.json file. Manifest.json. And in that file, I will add the following content. This is version 3, the latest version of the manifest configuration we're using. Name, version, basic description. And here's where we specify the pop-up. So the pop-up, when you click on the extension icon, it'll go to this page. And then I added the storage permissions because we're going to be storing our enable and our text input using Chrome storage. So let's go and create now this popup.html. New file, popup.html. And in that file, we're going to put the following text. So we have title here. You don't really see it in the pop-up, and then we're gonna have some style in this popup.css file. Then in here we're gonna have our switch type checkbox, so on or off, and then we're gonna have a text input for the string that we want to blur. So things we need here is a popup.css and a popup.js. So let's create our popup.js file. Popup.js. And in that file, we're going to put this text. Okay, so we're going to have a little log message just for fun and debugging that we'll see. We have our function here to set the badge text. This method will put a little badge next to our extension icon. We don't actually have a real icon for this extension, but it's not needed. It'll just show up as a letter, as the first letter of our extension name, in this case M. So what else do we have in a pop-up? Okay, so we get our element, the enabled element, which is in our HTML file, enabled right here. And that's our checkbox, and we set it. We go to the storage and we get enabled switch of there, if anything there, and we set our enabled element to what we have in storage, and then we set the appropriate badge text, either on or off. If we listen for a change in that checkbox and we save that enabled in Chrome storage. So this is for the on-off switch, and then we have kind of similar logic for the input field. We get it from storage, and then we listen for a change and we put it into storage. And the last thing is the .css. So let's create a .css file. Pop-up.css. And we'll put in our CSS here. We have, we basically going to use a slider switch. So this code is just all of that just for that slider up here. And then we got a little margin element here. So at this point, we do not have, even though we don't have a content script or a background script, we could start loading and testing this in the Chrome browser. So let's go back to Chrome, and then we go to extensions, and then we are in developer mode. So in the top right here, you have development mode. So we want to enable it. So that way we can click this button called Load Unpacked. So I'm going to click Load Unpacked. I'm going to go to my source directory. Source, these are the files that we create, the 4 files we created. I'm going to select, and look at this, the extension is loaded. We can see it here. And then I'm going to go click here on this extension button and pin this extension so that we can see the icon here. You see the icon is M. And so when I click now on this icon, this checkbox and input field comes up, and we can test it. We can on or off, we can put a value here, and that should be persistent. Even after restarting the Chrome browser, these values should still be there. All right, so let's move on. So now we want to add a content script that's actually going to do some work. So let's go back to our editor, and we'll create a new file called content.js. So that's going to be a content script. But we also need to update our configuration to tell the extension that we have a content script. So let's add this configuration. So content script, we have our content.js content script, and it's going to run, we're going to use this match text. It's going to run basically on every web page. It's possible to do some filtering here for specific web pages, but in this case, we'll just enable it for all pages. So let's go back to our content file, and we're going to put in some code here, just JavaScript code. So there's a couple functions. Let's start from here. So we're going to have a mutation observer that's going to watch for any changes to our document object model, right, to our web page. And then if there's a change, we're going to call this process node function. So this process node is going to go through each DOM node. And if it's a text node and it's got some text content, it's going to see, well, first it's going to check if it's already blurred, and it's not going to do anything. And if that node contains the text that we passed in our pop-up, then we're going to blur that text, right? And we're just going to apply this filter for the blurring. Okay, and then at startup, we get our enabled and our text from storage. And then if things are enabled and we got something, a text to blur from storage, only then are we gonna observe our DOM using this observer. And then we're gonna do an initial processing for things to blur. Okay, so let's just finishing up and add the background script as well. So we're gonna also need to tell our manifest.json that we have a background script. So we add the background section here. And the background script is also known as the service worker. The term service worker is used, I think, most frequently in the Chrome developer documentation. So it's going to be this background.js file. So let's create this file. Background.js. And in that file, we're going to have this text. Basically, the only thing this background is going to do is it's going to fire on startup, on Chrome startup, or when this extension is installed, and it's going to check the storage and then set the on-off badge text on the extension icon. And that's all it's going to do. All right, so now we basically have all the three components, right? We have the pop-up. We got the pop-up, we got a content script that runs on the page, and we got a background script. So we got the three main components of a basic extension. So let's go ahead and test it out. Let's go over here. We can either load it again or simply press this reload button. Press the reload button. You get refreshed. See, this is still on because we have it saved in storage. Let's disable it for now. And let's go test it on the web page. Let's go to fleetdm.com and let's enable it, and let's filter any elements that contain the word device. So as you recall, when the content script runs, it checks if it's enabled. So the content script is already ran, so there's nothing blurred here. So in order to see the visibility of the blur, we have to reload this page. And let's see, oh, there we go. We got some blurred stuff here. So it looks like everything's working. All right, so in the future videos, we're gonna continue developing this extension. So we're gonna add support for TypeScript. We're gonna add a bundling tool, development mode, and lots of other things. That's it for today.